Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are diving into a fun and creative project. We'll be painting our very own tree of life. Now there are very many beautiful interpretations of this iconic symbol, but today I will be showing you my unique take on it. Feel free to get creative and make it your own as we go along. Before we get started, here's a quick rundown of what you will need. Here are the color blues that I'm going to be using for the sky. There are several different colors. And here is the scraper I will be using to scrape the paint on. Next is the credit card, old credit card. Now, just apply the paint right onto the surface of the canvas. Make sure you apply plenty, because you can always scrape the extra off. And then just start blending with the scraper. It will give you a beautiful blend. Get all into the corners, and you can see that I've taped off the center of the canvas, separating the sky from the ground. Now that the base layer is dry, I'm going to start adding the sunrise, with white taking center stage, and then blending the different shades of yellow. Make sure that you use a damp brush for this to help blend all the different shades of yellow together. Next, I'm using my credit card to add some texture into the sky. Adding some plum and some gold add more interest. You just take the edge of the card and dip it into the paint, and then just gently scrape it along. And when you want to change colors, you just wipe off the card and add another color. It's very easy. Now that we've finished our sky, we're going to use some sponges to blend our colors for the ground. It doesn't really matter what kind of sponge you use. I'm going to use these natural sea sponges. Make sure you get them wet and wring them out really well. You don't want them dripping at all when you apply the paint. Once the sunrise was dry, I added blue tape over it. Now I'm adding some yellow ochre. I'm also going to be adding some plum and violet. Now that the ground is dry, I'm removing the tape. I love how the two distinct blending techniques create contrasting texture, adding increased interest and dimension in the painting. Now with the ruler, I'm going to mark out my tree trunk. You don't have to use a ruler if you don't want to. You can just eyeball it, although I'm not very good at eyeballing, so I'm just going to kind of mark the center of the tree and the tree trunk. I'm drawing in my tree trunk with my acrylic marker. You should definitely use some sort of acrylic marker, or you can use a Sharpie. I'm using a plate to mark the arc to show the limits of the branches and the tree roots. You can create a full circle if you like. It's up to you. It's your creation. Go for it. Okay, I'm starting to add my branches and my roots. Starting to color in my branches, thicker branches, with my acrylic pen. You can do this with paint and a paintbrush. However, I just find it so much easier with an acrylic pen. These Posca pens are my favorite. You can get them in fine tip and wide tip. And you can find them, of course, at Amazon. Now I'm going to start adding different colors to the tree, like browns and golds, yellows, reds, anything to give it more character, dimension. Here I'm starting with the brown. For the roots, I'm adding in purple and pink and plum, kind of coordinate with the ground. As you can see, I have my pens scattered all over the place using all different colors. And for the top of the tree, I've used a lot of lighter colors to reflect the sunlight. Now I'm going to be using my gold acrylic marker just to do some highlights on the top branches. Now I'm going to use my hot glue gun over those arcs that I put on earlier. Now I'm adding some hot glue to the boundary between the sky and the ground. After the first layer of glue is dried, I'm adding a little bit more, give it a little bit more dimension and texture. Now that the glue has completely dried, I'm going to start painting on top of the glue with yellows and oranges and kind of pale yellows to reflect the sunlight on the top of the branches. Now for the boundary layer between the sky and the ground, where the hot glue is, I'm going to be painting the top of the glue with yellows and white to reflect the light from the sky. And then kind of underneath, I'm going to add the purples and the blues. So you get a nice shadow underneath. Painting on the glue is kind of like painting on glass. Now I'm going to start on the root boundary using blues and purples, even some pinks. I'm going to be using Golden's High Flow Acrylic. It's called Nickel Azure Gold. You can use them for a glazing effect. I'm adding this to the top and bottom of the canopy and the root base to add a three-dimensional effect and also giving it some depth. I decided to add some yellow very lightly on top of the canopy just to offset some of the reflection of the light. I want to add more color to my sunset, so I'm using a small cut down credit card to add more dimension and texture to the sunrise. I decided that the boundary needed a little bit more darkening underneath to give it more depth. And again, using my high flow acrylic underneath for a little bit more shadow. Then again, adding a little bit more yellow, forever the not knowing when to stop part of the painting. There you have it. This piece reminds me of the symbol of yin and yang. I think I'm going to call it the yin and yang tree of life. Thank you so much for watching. Come and join me next time for more art exploration.